Hey everybody, Adam from the Pike Homestead here. Just doing a little bit of work in the barn today. So, there comes a time when the nitrogen output in the chicken poop will outstrip the ability of the carbon you've laid down to absorb it. And when that happens, it starts to smell a little bit. So you've got to keep that in mind. Like if your chicken coop starts to smell, it's time to change it up. And we've been hitting that point here as I've been busy helping our neighbors and working this last couple of weeks. I haven't had as much time to be in here cleaning, so we've hit that point. I haven't put in any fresh stuff, but as you can see, let me just show you here, it's about a foot deep. So this is all fresh soil that's being generated here as the poop mixes with the straw and starts to break down. And so that's how you start beginning, making your compost. So all this stuff will be going outside now. It's getting kind of deep, like I said, so I want to clean it out and get all new fresh stuff. But it's also fantastic for the chickens because even though it's all their poop and everything in there, as it starts to break down, you start to get all sorts of little life going. You'll get bacteria, you'll get like little nematodes and stuff like that. In summer you'll be getting fly larvae. And they love it. Like even here, I've got it in the sled, which I'm using to pull it outside. I haven't even finished yet. And he's here telling them that, hey, there's food, let's go find it. And they're digging in and dumping it all out all over the floor again. So, anyway, I got to get back to work on this before they spill it all over the place again. But I just wanted to share this little bit about what we're doing and why. So what I'll be doing is after I get this cleaned out, I'll be bringing in a bunch of fresh straw to pile under there because that is where most of it builds up. So they sit here. And as they sleep, they poop a lot. So, this is where the majority of the fecal output is. It's where they're roosting and hanging out. They don't walk around and poop a heck of a lot. It's mostly under here. So this is the primary spot I want to do to get it clean, whereas I can just put another layer of straw and stuff over the rest of it. This spot now needs to be cleared out so that we get rid of any smells and any potential, disease or sicknesses that comes from too much poop in one spot. Right, Penguin? Let's clean it up for you guys. He's busy here telling them all that there's food there. Now this is all the stuff from under there. And look at him going and digging through it. I mean, sure, there's a few seeds and stuff left from the straw, but there's not a lot left at this point. Now, another thing you got to keep in mind when you're doing this sort of work is your own health. This is why I'm wearing the mask. So this is an N95. So it is to keep, the dust particles and the poop particles and everything out of my lungs. Because, if you work in the barn a little bit without it, I end up coughing a fair amount once I'm done. Just because it is a fairly dusty environment and there's a lot of hay dust and straw dust, So it's a little bit of what they call farmer lung. So, that does get in there and bother things up. So especially when you're doing jobs like this, when you're working with the worst of the worst stuff in the barn and stirring it all up, it's good to protect yourself. So I have finished cleaning out underneath the chicken roost and got fresh straw in there. And now for the next part of the cleanup, which is this area of the goats' pens. As you can see, there's a lot of hay mixed in the ground because goats are wasteful bastards. There's also a lot of feed because they like to step in their bowl and flip it all over the place. So there's actually a lot of goat feed mixed in on the floor here. And it seems like that might be a lot of waste. So how are we going to make use of it? Well, I'm just going to scoop it up and throw it in the general area of the chickens there. They will eat a lot of that and make good use of it and turn it into eggs for us. So that way it's not going to waste. And then the goats will get a lot of nice warm straw put in here. And God, whew, she's getting violent today. What is up? The goats want to play, but she keeps headbutting me. So anyway, I'm going to get started on that, clear out all the goat furnishings and stuff, get it out of the way, start raking up and transferring stuff into the other pen to make the chickens very, very happy. So the bonus of doing it this way, I can just throw the pile in here and they will spread it out for me and continue breaking it down and doing more composting of all the food and goat poo, and they'll eat the hay and stuff as well because they're omnivorous, so they'll make use of a lot more of it than the goats were at this point. But yes, a bunch of happy chickens there, and that's just the first load. So I'm going to have 2 or 3 more to bring in here, and then we'll start putting in some clean straw for the goats. So there's definitely something about the sound of satisfied chickens. They definitely like to chatter and cluck and sing to themselves a little bit, and you can tell when they're happy. And this is also a benefit for doing this where we are in winter. I mean, chickens aren't going to be going outside in 2 feet of snow. As good as their feet are with the cold, they're not going to do it because it's just unpleasant for them. It's taller than them, and there's no food to be found. So, recycling the bedding that we're using for the goats in with the chickens is a fantastic way to give my chickens, who are pretty much stuck indoors for, months at a time here, a chance to feel like outdoor birds. I mean, this is exactly what they'd be doing outside. Scratching and pecking and looking for stuff to eat. And they're all just so happy, making all the happy noises, them and the roosters. Like, the roosters, as good as they are generally in here, they're generally not this peaceful, right? But look at them all, right? Right now, because there's been a lot of new ones added in, there's a lot of, stress and agitation and pecking order establishing and everything like that. That happens every day. It's not often that we get them all quiet and busy and working together and finding food like this. There's always, they're always guarding it, or, the dominant ones are saying, no, that's mine. So giving them something like this to do, like there's a little bit of it there, but, they're all far too busy right now. And they're far too happy doing what chickens should be doing. At our latitude here, we're under snow for, 8 months of the year. It's a fairly blustery day out today. But yeah, and this is what I've been doing with the stuff I took out from underneath the roost. So here, let's give you a walk around and see what we've done here to get the goats outside. So, just bringing out I'd already kind of scooped out and blazed a bit of a trail here, because we do have we do have an outdoor waterer here that's working now, and I want them out here using it. Sorry if the wind's kind of blustery. So I, put out a trail and put some straw on it, but they weren't really interested. But now they're more into coming out here, and so all the stuff I was scraping out from underneath the chickens is now here, and it's making a decent path, and I can also, we'll just swing back around to the corner here, and this is an area where I just kind of blazed a path just by foot, squishing the snow down, so they have a good solid path and solid footing on top of what snow is here to get out to their tires if they want to come out and climb on it or anything. But they're definitely coming out more now that they've got a place to stand that isn't just snow up to up to their chest pretty much. You can see Duke there. So if you can see how high it is next to him. So we're trying to make use of it all, in multiple ways. It's not just holding chicken poop, it's not just turning into compost, but it's also giving, the goats a way to go outside, and give them a path, and then create more, soil in here. It's going to get to the point, like, if you look, see that snow pile right there? That's all the stuff that we've been dumping out of here through the summer. And so that, will be becoming compost and turning into dirt in its due time as well. So the thing we have to do with that is, at some point, we're going to have to scoop it up and get it out into the garden, which will be a project in and of itself based on the tools that I have available to me right now. But also, I've been, again, working with our neighbor and building our community, which is one of our goals from New Year's last year. And if you check back on the channel here, we're going to have kind of a update and refresh of all of that, and say how successful we were or weren't last year with all of our goals, and then and say what the new goals are, or what they've transformed into since last year, because a lot has happened with us. So be sure to check our channel for that one. It's going to be a good one, and worth checking out to see where we're going and where we're headed, and make it worthwhile for you to keep following us along here. But anyway, back to what I'm talking about is, I've been working with our neighbors, and they've got me using the tractor more so I can be more of a useful farmhand for them on, kind of the part-time basis that I've been doing it. And so that's this goat today. Do you think they're angry that I foiled all their evil plans to break into my chicken coops? Because she just keeps beating me up. What do you think? Tell us in the comments below. Are the goats bitter that I've thwarted their evil plans? Anyway, so yes, I've been working with our neighboring farms here and ranches, and they've got me working more with the tractor and learning how to use it. To help with loading bales and stuff for transport to the farm, and just in general be more useful to them going forward, as a farmhand, because a lot of their workforce is starting to get a little old. I mean, the main guy who's running it is my age, actually, but he's working with his dad, and everybody else is all older than he is. So having someone, of a similar age, at least, makes it a little bit younger for their workforce, and gives them an extra hand close by to help out when they need it. But so the more useful I can be, the better it is for everybody. And it also will give me a chance to, at some point, borrow their tractor with the loader and scoop up all the dirt we're building in here and put it where we need it. As well as, as we build because our chicken run for the layers is going to be out there. And I got to move the fences that are down over there. The fences on the movable frames, are going to move them up here, and we'll be using the tractor to do that too. So, anyway, building the community and being part of it and helping others around you and being neighborly is, it's been a huge benefit to us so far, and it's been a benefit to them as well, because you can't do it alone. Anyway, so the stuff we've been working on, and I don't know, she's lining me up until you're looking at her. She was getting ready to charge at my knees again. Angry goats. Anyway, I'm gonna get back to the work here and get it all cleaned up. And yeah, so anyway, that's all the multiple purposes that we can use this bedding for, more than just the single use for catching poop, right? We're making as much use of it as we can to be as sustainable as we can, to get as much out of it as we can for not much cost to us. And that's the way you got to go in a world like this. All right. So they've moved on from the pettiness of, trying to take my knees out to just getting in the way. Where they are standing right now is the last bit I've got to sweep and scoop up to get this area cleaned out so we can put in fresh straw for them. And they've decided that now's the time for lunch. If you would stop interrupting, Maverick, I would appreciate it. See, now he's getting others going. It's been him yelling the whole time. Anyway, they've had the hay feeder full all morning, and none of them have really spent any time there until just now, where I'm coming back in from walking around with you guys outside to start sweeping and scooping up. And all three of them are there munching away. I think it's a sign that maybe I should go have lunch. So they've got a fresh pile in here now. If you look over here, that's the first two loads that I brought in here. They've already pretty much flattened it out. I haven't had to spread it at all because they will do it for me, and they're still doing it. And now they're all up on that latest pile that I just dumped there. And they'll do the same thing. And this will, again, give them, additional kind of, bedding down here in the general area, which isn't as much of a priority for being clean because, again, most of their poop happens over here and they've got fresh bedding there. But this will spread out and gives them something to peck through, some extra to eat. So it cuts our feed costs, so we're not having to fill up that quite as much, as they'll be happy for, a day or two picking through everything here and just being happy chickens. But it also gives more material down here for, poop absorption and dust control and, all the benefits of having it here while it's being kind of reused. It's also getting mixed and aerated, which is good for the breakdown and composting aspect of it as well. She found something. So, it is a chicken eat chicken world out there. They can be fairly vicious when food is involved. It doesn't matter if they were, hatched together or if they were hatched from, one of the other ones. If they're lower on the pecking order and get something that someone higher on it wants, they get hurt. I mean, not badly, but... But, all of this goes through into creating stuff like eggs. And for being in sub-zero temperatures for much of the year, I'm really happy, just to give an update on how this is working, is I'm really happy with our egg production. At this point last year, I think we had just moved the hens in here. And most of our fluffy Orpington ladies there hadn't quite started laying when winter set in, and then the 4 layers that we had completely stopped when they were outside in the outdoor coop. I mean, and as soon as we started seeing too much frostbite on the boys, on their combs and stuff, we transferred them into the barn here, and then this summer we changed it into an actual permanent coop. But one of the big things I wanted to do, as well as with the heating, which actually isn't working. My furnace fix didn't last. The same thing happened again, which sucks. But it's my fault for not replacing the bearings on the fan, because that's what seized up and caused it. And I didn't replace it the first time around. I got it. It was spinning. I figured it would be good enough, and it was not. So anyway, we haven't had the furnace going. We do have a space heater in here, and it runs okay to take the edge off and keep the water from freezing on the cold nights. But it's generally just been the insulation and all the animals in here with the doors closed on the cold days that have kept it good enough. And that mixed in, with the lighting and having enough light going for a long enough part of the day, our egg production has never been better. So with just the odd occasion, we're getting it, we've got 30 potential layers. I don't think all of the girls are old enough to be laying yet. But our first kind of group that we hatched last year, they are definitely laying now. So we are hitting numbers that suggest that all 30 are at a laying point at this point. Because we're getting a dozen to 15 eggs a day right now, which is fantastic. So that's really good. Like occasionally we'll hit a low day where we get like 6, but even that is enough to keep feeding the family. So right now, the production has been fantastic. As long as we're keeping them, fed with layer feed and everything, it's been going great. So I haven't been able to use as much of the old grain that we have in the one granary there as much this year, just because we're looking at producing eggs. So we've got to get them the stuff that produces that. So anyway, that's been a good success. Overall the barn coop right now is working. It's not working perfectly yet. I still got to figure out the heating, but it's not as big of an issue as I originally worried it would be. So that's good. All right. Anyway, back to work. So that's that all done. Everything is cleaned up and tidied and being made use of. The animals are happy, and I'm happy because it's nice to get all that cleaned up for them. And there's still more work to do in the barn. I mean, there's the other 2 stalls that the goats don't really focus on, but they could use not so much a cleanup, but just a top up of hay. But I will be doing that another day because it's a bit of a walk in the snow to get the new straw and everything in here. But a part of what I was doing as I was getting that taken care of, I was also reloading our stock of square hay bales that I feed the goats from, just because that's what I was working for with our neighbors, a lot this summer, was to get that to feed them. But it's all out in the same pole barn with all the straw and everything, because that's the only place we had to store that many bales. but I needed a supply here. I've been grabbing one or two as I'm running out. And so as I was doing trips back and forth, it's very windy out there today. So, all the hay in the sled would get blown all over the place. So I just grabbed some straps and strapped a square bale on top of each load to bring it out. So, just stacking the functions to make make it more worth the trip. I'm doing two things at once, basically. The ideal of permaculture, do more things with what you have. And again, it's referred to as stacking functions. Simple, but, why make another trip for hay when I'm doing a trip for straw, and I can use the hay to kind of hold the straw in and not have it blown all over the place with the high winds today. So, it worked out rather well. And I now have, enough hay in the barn to last through probably until the end of February. And it's only 6 bales, but we only have 3 goats, right? So that will be good. I won't have to do many more runs for that. So I'm happy with that. Now, we've had the barn open all day. It hasn't really been that cold today. Which has been good to get it aired out, as well as I'm sweeping up everything and get some of the dust blown out. We've had a couple of good days of warm weather. We're supposed to have a few more good days, so we we'll be opening the barn up a lot more, and hopefully get these weather shy goats outside more. Let's see if they'll follow me, but they probably won't. Anyway, so thanks for spending your time with me today. Hope you learned a little something. Hope you just enjoyed watching me, futz around and get attacked by goats. And so yeah, thanks for spending your time. So if you're liking our content, be sure to subscribe so you find, so that you keep up to date with us and follow us on our journey, because again, it's expanding and changing and growing, and there's going to be a lot going on this year as we, kind of refocus and redirect what our plans are to make the most use of what we have. So, we appreciate you. We've had a lot of new followers coming on recently, looking at actually, looks like my old chicken coop build from way back at the rental property. So that's awesome that people are getting interested in that. If you have any questions or anything, we've learned a lot since then. Be sure to ask them on any of the videos. We will answer to the best of our ability. So, keep in touch, keep following us. We appreciate you. Thank you for following along, and tell your friends and anybody else who's interested in this, because, we want to be growing our own food and being more self-sufficient. And you can too, whether you've got, 25 acres like us or just a deck on an apartment. There's something you can grow to feed yourself. So, follow along with us, and we appreciate having you here. All right. So you have a good one. Bye-bye.